They should have never let the Golden State Warriors draft Trayce Jackson-Davis. As you all know, Trayce Jackson-Davis was picked 57th overall, and the Golden State Warriors have officially signed him to the team. In today's video, we're going to be going through 5 key reasons why Trayce Jackson-Davis is perfect for the Golden State Warriors, and how he can help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. The first is that Trayce Jackson-Davis has great inside and low post scoring. Now, I think this is something that is fantastic to have, but when it comes to inside scoring, it is a little bit of a lost art. There are not a lot of players left that really have great inside low post scoring, and Trayce Jackson-Davis can definitely provide that for the Golden State Warriors. Now, in his most recent season with Indiana in college, he was actually averaging 20.9 points per game and also had a 2-point percentage of 59%. So it was honestly insane to see how much he was able to affect, especially the inside scoring, and it's something that the Warriors definitely need. If we look at the Golden State Warriors season last season, we actually see that especially when it comes to the power forwards and centers, none of them actually had a point average of above 10 points. You had Draymond Green, he only averaged 8.5 points. You also have Kevon Looney, who did score quite a bit in the playoffs, but only had an average of 7 points. Even if you move down the line to Jonathan Kuminga, he was only at 9 points, and all the way to JaMychal Green, who only averaged 6.4 points. So none of them were able to actually average above 10 points in that power forward and center position, and I think this is something that the Golden State Warriors definitely need. They have great shooters in Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and even add now Andrew Wiggins, but they definitely missed out on, especially when it came to the later playoff series such as the one with Lakers, is that low post inside scorer that can give them an easy bucket. At the end of the day, a shot inside the paint is as easy nowadays than it is as a 3-point shot. However, I do believe that in certain times inside scoring is definitely still something that should be very efficient and something in everyone's game. Now, when it comes to Golden State Warriors, they could definitely use a scorer like Trayce Jackson-Davis, and I think that's one of the main reasons why they did end up trading for him in that draft. When it comes to Trayce Jackson-Davis, what he does so well is that floater shot that he has around the ring. He can definitely go from a low post into a nice little left hook or right hook, and he does a fantastic job at finishing a very consistent basis. On top of that, if you even want to add, if he does get fouled in that low post scoring action, he does have a great free throw percentage of 70%. I do believe he can definitely still improve in that, but overall, I think he is able to really dominate that inside very well. You got to remember as well, he is 6'9", and he is a great height to play that power forward position. Warriors tend to run a small ball lineup where Draymond Green is a power forward and he's only at 6'6", so to add a 6'9" guy that has that inside presence is definitely going to do wonders for this Warriors team, especially early on in this season. I think Trayce Jackson-Davis can make an impact straight away, even if it's just 10-15 minutes off the bench. The second is Trayce Jackson-Davis's great athleticism. Now, I think this is something that plays into a lot of parts of someone's game, but being an athletic player really does make you a lot better than the rest due to the fact that you're faster, stronger, quicker in all different ways. And I think this is something that is great is due to the fact that he added that athleticism to that Warriors team that he needed. And I think Trayce Jackson-Davis can definitely do the same, and also had a great 3/4 sprint of 3.2 seconds and a max vertical leap of 36.5 inches. Guys, a 6'9" player has a 36.5-inch vertical leap. That is honestly insane. He is pretty much getting above that rim at that point, and I think it is honestly great to have someone of his caliber in this team. Now, when it comes to athleticism, where I really do think it will help, especially when it comes to implementing it with the Golden State Warriors, is definitely being able to run the fast break. As you all know, the Golden State Warriors are one of the fastest teams in the league, and the way they do that is by really pushing the ball and getting on a fast break every single chance that they can get. Even off a bucket, what we see the Warriors do a lot of times is definitely push the ball up, whether it's Draymond, Steph Curry, and maybe find someone like Wiggins on the wing to be able to get a quick and easy bucket. So I think this is so important because I think what TJD can definitely provide is definitely running the floor at that power forward position. We see in these Indiana highlights, even if he's the one grabbing the board and passing it out to the point guard, he's still able to run the floor so effectively and get into position in order to get an easy bucket. And I think that's what's fantastic about his game. He's able to play one side of the floor and move on to the next in that fast break situation very, very quick. And that's where his athleticism definitely does wonders for him. Now, when it comes to defense, obviously it's great to be quick and fast on defense, and I think he is a great defender as well on top of everything. A lot of his highlights with Indiana definitely show him playing some top prospects around the league, but it does show him being able to be stronger than them, faster than them, and be able to jump higher than them. And I think think that is something that is so important when it comes to TJD. His great athleticism will definitely be needed, especially for this Warriors team, especially since, players like Steph, Clay, Draymond are all getting older as the days go by. Golden State Warriors actually had a really poor defending year this season, and I think someone like Trayce Jackson-Davis added to this roster can definitely help improve that. The Golden State Warriors actually ranked 21 in points allowed to the opponent, and I think honestly, when it comes to looking at Golden State Warriors the season before when they won the NBA championship, where they were actually ranked in the top 10, I think they definitely need to improve that. If we also look at their defensive rating as a whole was only 18th this current season that just passed, and because of that, I think TJD can definitely add that little firepower that they need on defense. On top of that, if Wiggins comes back in full effect, having TJD and also Andrew Wiggins both playing and both in the same lineup, I think can honestly be super dangerous for any other team, and it could be a really great defensive structure that the Warriors have built with these two players. The third is that Trayce Jackson-Davis is a fantastic rebounder. Now I think there's something that is so underrated about Trayce Jackson-Davis, but he is honestly such a great rebounder, and if we look at his stats from the most recent season with Indiana, he was actually averaging 10.8 rebounds. Now when it comes to his defensive rebounds, it was 8 rebounds, and his offensive rebounds was averaging 2.8, which I think is really good as well when it comes to the ratio between offensive and defensive rebounds. But when it comes to rebounds in general, I think what's most important is that the Golden State Warriors weren't really the best rebounding team compared to other years, and I definitely do believe one of the main reasons for that is due to the fact that they did lose, some great players that did a lot of rebounding, such as Otto Porter Jr. Now, if we look at the most current season for the Golden State Warriors when it came to opponents' rebounds allowed, they actually ranked 16th, which means they were allowing a lot of rebounds to the other team at an average of 43.3 rebounds per game. And one of the reasons for this is that the Golden State Warriors were a little bit of a smaller team. Yes, you still had Kevon Looney, but Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins was playing for half the season as well. And on top of that, I definitely do believe they lost some great rebounders in Otto Porter Jr. and all of this nature. Now, when it comes to Warriors, they definitely need another big rebounder, someone that's athletic, someone that's tall, and Trayce Jackson-Davis can definitely be that guy. We just recently talked about his athleticism and how it affects him on defense and the great things it does for that, but I definitely do believe athleticism also does help when it comes to rebounding in general. Like we talked about, his max vertical leap is 36.5 inches at 6'9", which is honestly insane, and it can definitely help this Golden State Warriors team really get quite a lot more rebounds. Now, this is no disrespect to Steph Curry, but Steph Curry was the third leading rebounder in this team at 6.1 rebounds, and I'm sorry, if Steph Curry is your leading rebounder who's a point guard at 6'3", 6'4", then I'm telling you, you need to get more rebounders in your team. And that's no disrespect to Steph, because I think he did a fantastic rebounding opportunity, but I do believe if they had an extra rebounder out there who can really put off some of that weight for Steph Curry, it can really open up Curry more to do more of scoring, do more playmaking, all these other things. So I definitely do believe they need another main rebounder out there, and I think Trayce Jackson-Davis can definitely be that guy. Since he's 6'9", he's young and he's super athletic. And if we look at their most recent championship run, you see that they actually ranked top 5 in all rebounding categories. So I think this is something that is so important and something the Warriors definitely need to improve on, because we definitely even saw that in the playoffs where they versus Los Angeles Lakers, where Anthony Davis was just too tall and too big to stop, especially if Kevon Looney was off the floor and was taking a break. So I definitely do believe the height, the athleticism that Trayce Jackson-Davis definitely brings to this Warriors team can definitely do wonders, and I think it will have a first effect very, very soon, especially if he starts playing around that 10 to 15 minute range. Even if he's out there just doing rebounds and getting 8-7 rebounds per game, I think that really does take off a lot of stress of other players like Steph, Draymond, and even Kevon Looney to do other things out there on the floor. The fourth is that Trayce Jackson-Davis will be a great replacement for Dante DiVincenzo. Now, it is a sad day, but Dante DiVincenzo has actually signed with the New York Knicks, which means he is no longer a Golden State Warrior. And I think with that move being made, Trayce Jackson-Davis can actually fill that role. I think getting back Gary Payton II, especially seeing the most current season that just played, it seemed that Dante DiVincenzo and GB2 pretty much had the same role, and it seemed to not really work out, especially for that second unit. But now that Dante DiVincenzo is gone, it seems that GP2 can be that main defender for that second unit, and now Trayce Jackson-Davis can add a little bit of that height and athleticism that was supposed to be for Dante DiVincenzo. You gotta remember, DiVincenzo was a great rebounder for this team and a great defender. However, he only stood at 6'4". So they definitely needed someone with a little bit more height, and I think Trayce Jackson-Davis can definitely provide that, especially for this second unit with everything that is going on. Jonathan Kuminga might be traded and all these different things. If Kuminga is actually traded, then we probably could see Trayce Jackson-Davis play a lot more minutes, as he will probably be that main power forward, small forward position. You still have Moody coming off the bench, and now that we have Chris Paul and also GP the second, we could see Trayce Jackson-Davis run that power forward at even center position, which I think works well for his game, and also I think the players fit very well with him. The fifth is that Trayce Jackson-Davis's mindset and playstyle matches what the Golden State Warriors are trying to do, and I think this is something that is so important. But when it comes to Trayce Jackson-Davis, he has the playstyle that fits really what the Warriors have, which is basically fast-paced basketball and providing that scoring in each and every opportunity. And on top of that, when it comes to his mindset coming into this team, he's not coming in thinking, you know, I deserve this amount of minutes, I deserve this amount of money. He's coming in doing his role and doing the best that he can, and I think that is something that is so important. Even NBA coaches have actually said, like I mentioned before, that he is actually the biggest steal of that second round draft, and I definitely do believe that. I think Trayce Jackson-Davis is definitely going to be a gem in this league, and he is starting off with great guidance from players such as Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, even other players like Steph and Clay. And I do believe even if you keep Trayce Jackson-Davis for the next couple of years, we maybe even see him have a three-point shot by the end of this, especially being taught by pretty much the greatest shooters alive.